That up with a bit of a head scratcher this season. 4-5 on the year, coming off a disappointing loss to the Cowboys. They now head to New Orleans to try and salvage a playoff run against arguably the best team in the league. We'll call that one a challenge. Doug Pederson addressed all of that to his team yesterday.
They're disappointed. They're disappointed in the way they play. They're disappointed in the outcome of the game. And they know that, we talk about having no regrets. No regrets during the week and no regrets on Sundays. And right now we got to continue to work on that.
It's the first time, though, that you guys have said that messaging of having to look in the mirror, that you've had those moments where you haven't been able to fight through. So do you have to change your messaging at this point to come out the other side?
Well, I think that's something I'd have to consider, quite frankly, because I don't know any other way to do it but to look internally. Am I giving enough as a head football coach? Am I giving enough to the team? Am I giving up? Am I sacrificing enough in my game planning and my study during the week? So I got to look at myself, and that's what I ask the players to do. Is they got to look and see, are they getting extra conditioning? Are they getting extra film study during the week? Are they getting rest at night? That all those things are part of wins and losses, and so that's something that'll never change.
Doug Pederson questioning how much he's giving to his team. Not sure that's something the team wants to hear. CC, how much of the Eagles' struggles can be pinned on Doug Pederson?
Doug needs to stop talking. They need to stop all the press conferences because Doug don't know what the heck he's talking about. All right? Why don't we do this? After a second year as a head coach, right, in Philadelphia, they won the Super Bowl, right? You know what I'm going to do first, Jenna? I'm getting ready to write a book. I ain't never been no head coach, but why are you writing a book? Well, what do you know? In your 2 years, the jury was out on you. Now, this was a magic playoff run that they went on. And now in doing that, so you write a book. That's how you're going to start. You know something, guys? I got this thing figured out. Life, football, I got it figured out. I'm getting ready to write a book. All right, you started off wrong. Oh, we have more fun than they have in New England. I would have stopped that messaging point because you don't know what they do in New England. You've never been in New England. And it wasn't the right type of focus to have in the offseason. So, yes, Doug Pederson, he's grasping at straws. Yeah. There is no way that I weekly try to face a press conference and try to explain to people. Stop talking. Stop trying to tell people what you think they might want to hear. Stop answering those. Bill Belichick, the reason why his press conferences are that way, because it's not his responsibility to reveal everything to the media because it's not going to help the team get better. So the more he stays up there, the more he answers questions, the more he's like, well, you know something? I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I had never thought about that. Maybe I should start looking at myself. Well, you're not ready for the press conference. Doug Pederson, regardless of what we say, he's won a Super Bowl, but he is still learning how to be a head coach. And every week I hear a sound bite that lets me know that this is not a team, that they're not going on leadership. He don't have the heartbeat of this team right now. This is an average football team that's very, very talented. They are not playing up to their talent level. And the reason why, their head coach should take responsibility for that because we got teams out there not as talented, playing a lot better than the Eagles are playing. So Doug should look at himself. He shouldn't go into a press conference and not have an answer to those questions, or he should just remove all those things and stop trying to explain, especially to the local media, what they're not supposed to understand it.
To me, good leadership, if I have to distill it down into one sentence, I would define good leadership as consistency of message and a clear objective. Now, everything else is a bonus. Do you inspire me? Am I a little afraid of you maybe instead of inspired? Like, you can put something on it, you can approach it from a different direction. But what I would want, what I felt professionally the first time I got any time in my career was once I got to this network was I knew exactly what the objective was, and I got a consistent message every day how to achieve that objective. How many different messages have we just heard from Doug Pederson? And he's only talking to us through the media, 15 to 20 minutes 3 times a week. How often are you talking to them players? Maybe more importantly, how often is he talking to his other coaches? What message is he giving them? You can't achieve an objective if you don't know what it is and what your leader believes the path is. The reason the NFL very often gets compared, I think sometimes unfortunately, to the military. But one similarity they have is a clear chain of command where what he says is what goes without a whole lot of questioning of it, and we're all going to go in that direction. I don't know that the Eagles have that part figured out. What I do know is they were coming off a bye, which is the one time during the season you can have the most impact as a head coach. Your bye week. Andy Reid off a bye, historically great. Belichick off a bye, like the best coaches are great off a bye. And they got embarrassed. I know it looks to me like they missed some of his lieutenants, Frank Reich, John DeFilippo. They look like they missed some of the other brains in that room up to this point in the season. I know that.
What if you're the players? Take me through this from the players' perspective, and you hear your head coach come in. You're probably savvy enough to know whether he knows and he's on point or whether he's just trying to figure out himself along with you. Is it hard to get up and play? Is it hard to rally around that? Is it hard when the message is not on point to get out there every Sunday?
You know, Jenna, it's not about the coach. There ain't no guy in the NFL that's motivated by his coach to play football. Every guy in the NFL, all 1,600 of those guys, they're living out their dream. So regardless if the coach helps them or not, they got a job to do. They have an assignment to do. So regardless if they get good direction, if they get good coaching, they have a family and they have a career that they have to take care of. So thinking guys won't be motivated to play because the coach is off point. Oh, no. Because each one of those guys, you know what's going to happen in Philadelphia with that veteran lineup? They're going to get rid of most of those guys.
But then what?
So guys are looking out for themselves. Like, yes, I don't think that the Eagles in last year, there was no inspiration from Doug Pederson. He didn't come up with the underdog thing. Like, they just built on the momentum. They won 13 games during the regular season, all right? They had a bye. They had a good matchup in the divisional round. They had Case Keenum in the championship game. That crowd was unbelievable. Now, in that game, they played a great football game. And in the Super Bowl, one of the best football games I've ever seen. But since then, what did Doug Pederson learn from that? And all we can say is he's missing an offensive coordinator. He's missing a quarterback coach. Because after 2 weeks of preparation, I was not pleased with the offensive game plan against Dallas and how they were going to use Golden Tate. All right? I would have come up with something more creative to get Golden Tate involved in the game plan with 2 weeks to prepare.
All right, see, I get what you're saying about the 1,600 guys are self-motivated, but I've also heard you talk. I know how self-motivated you were, but I also know how you talk about Denny Green. So let me ask it this way. Aside from schematic advantage on Sunday, the great coaches, what do they do for the players? What do even the self-motivated guys, what edge do the great coaches do? What made Denny better than some of the other coaches you had?
Some of the great coaches, they can look at aspects of your game that is not a strong suit and tell you things about yourself to try to grow your game. So it's, man, I didn't see myself. And most of these guys think they're very, very talented and have a lot of confidence. But when a coach can take you out of your narrow-mindedness and say, you know something, I believe there's a bigger role for you. James White in New England, you're never going to be a featured back, son. But one day, there's going to be some games where I'm going to throw you 10 passes. There's going to be some games you're going to score 3 touchdowns. There's going to be some games where you're going to be a hero in the Super Bowl. But you're never going to be a featured guy. And James has run with that role because Belichick has carved it out and helped him grow from that. But if you don't tell players what they're going to do and then follow up on it, like their offensive line, they can't be physical. Guys are not, they're having guys not having great years, so it's hard for the coach to be able to lie to guys. Denny Green was a great coach. I have not seen that in Doug Pederson. Yes, he's won a Super Bowl, but man, he just happened to be on the right team at the right time, and they came up with the plays. Now, he did call the Philly special. I give him a lot of credit from that. But has he grown from that? There's just a lot of questions in his day-to-day decision-making from my perspective.
Pederson's, in my eyes, got to bridge the gap between a gutsy coach that understands the numbers, which I think he is, to the gap from there to a consistently advantageous head coach.
Right.
You know, I think there are the Philly special, what they do on 4th downs. I think Philly is a smart, gutsy team, but that doesn't make that's not all that coaching is. The other part of it is the stuff it seems to me he's learning on the fly.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up, talk some basketball. Have we seen the last of Carmelo Anthony in the NBA? That's next on First Things First.